Hey, everybody, welcome to Diamonds and Hashmarks. We are joining you on a very somber day. Peyton, it's raining where I am. Is it raining where you are?
I actually haven't looked outside today because
Oh,
I'm just so sad.
true, true. Just waiting on February here now because that's when pitchers and catchers report. So before we get
Right.
too far ahead of ourselves, my name is Alex Pichardo. I'm the host and producer of this show, Diamonds and Hashmarks.
My name is Payne Petrata. I'm the co-host. You dig?
All right. So if you're joining us for the first time now because the title of this episode, Therapy Sessions, caught your eye, let's just go ahead and get some things out of the way real quick. We both love the Boston Red Sox. We both love the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars let us down yesterday on Sunday in a game against Tennessee to send us to the playoffs. Neither of us are happy about it. Hence the name of the episode, Therapy Session. So before the therapy session begins, we need to run through a couple things real quick with you all. We are so thankful for all the love and support that you guys are giving us. Apple Podcasts and Spotify, keep hitting us up with those 5-star reviews. Recommend us to a friend. Um, we're also partnering with Nestpod and What's Up Doc. We are recommending those as shows that you should go listen to. They recommend us as shows that you should listen to for similar content. And I am joining What's Up Doc Season 2 as a permanent guest on that show. It's going to be me, Nick, and Robbie Barr talking about all things sports. You're getting two different versions of me. But if you want strictly Diamonds and Hashmarks content, go check us out on Twitter, Diamond Hashmark. There is no S because Twitter, X, whatever we want to call it, didn't have the
Thanks,
character
Elon.
space available. So, yeah, it is what it is. If you want to watch the show, Diamonds and Hashmarks on YouTube, Instagram, we're posting tons of clips there every once in a while. Like when I have the time, you'll see a ton of clips there. But diamondsandhashmarks@gmail.com. Email the show there to let us know what you think about what we think. We really do love all the interaction that we're seeing, and we want to keep it up. We want to keep being a show of the people. So the therapy session is starting. And I felt like this was necessary for today's show. If you are listening and listening only, I am popping a Kona and pouring it into my Jaguars glass mug. And Peyton's playing a somber piano. Dude, we were 8-3.
Indeed, we were.
We were 8-3 at one point in the year. All right, so let's start by recapping the game here, and then we're gonna recap the year because that part of the season is upon us out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere,
Where
we
we
were
have to
having a lot
recap
of
the year.
fun. I think the beginning of the year, just like being so excited about this Jaguars team, and so excited that football is back, and then all of a sudden you blink, and it's over, or
It's
getting ready
over.
to be around that time. So,
Man, I
but
was ready for
exciting
like
show.
a 5-year reign at the top of the division because everybody else in the division seemed to be in shambles.
Yeah. Boy, were we wrong.
Yeah, that's why you should not listen to us.
Texans
Here on
out of
Diamonds and
nowhere.
Hashmarks. Yeah. All right. Final score of that game 28-20. Man, just if I were to take like a 50,000 foot view at the Jaguars, I would say that game encapsulates the entire season. An inability to take advantage of the opponent's miscues to score meaningful points and win the close ball game.
All true.
28-20. That was rough. So losing that game, get bounced from the playoffs because the Texans won their game against the Colts. They're in, and with the Steelers win against the Ravens in a game in which the Ravens had no incentive to win because they
Right.
had already taken their top spot. The Jags get bounced. Our only shot was to win and be a division winner because in the wild card, we were not a wild card team. Trevor Lawrence, over the course of the day, 29 completions on 43 attempts, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Towards the end of the game, he was stopped short of the goal line on an improvised sneak play, which I don't know if that's the right call, but he admitted a shortcoming where he was like, if I'm making that decision, I have to get it in, and I didn't get it in, so it's on me. But the way that took place, man, I don't understand making that call right then and there to do the sneak play. Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I don't understand is why we're running a pass play almost on the goal line on 3rd and goal. Why are we not running it to at least get it, at least get a touchdown, or half the distance to the goal? That way, if Trevor puts his hand over the goal line, it's actually a touchdown on 4th
Yeah,
and goal on an
yeah.
improvised sneak. I was livid. I audibly said in my friend group, "I need a cigarette."
Yeah, oh man, that
I
was
do not
brutal.
condone smoking by any means, but
Shoot, I might after that game.
yeah, it was not a good look. Especially like when we're in striking distance, and we can't get the job done. So that
Yeah,
was really hard to see, really hard to watch. After we had just, I think that was the same drive. I think Cisco made a really nice. Cisco on the defense made a really nice play. Read the offense really well. Came with the pick. It's a it's a tough day to be Jackson. It's
yeah.
tough.
So it looked like that play was designed to be a run play that goes to the right because our right guard pulls and swings out wide to get a block in. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't think it's the right call to try to take the ball from the center and immediately put it over his head and try to score a quick little goal line sneak when the guy right next to him on the side of the field that you're using your arm to stick over the goal line is now left wide open and completely vulnerable to getting punched out.
Yep.
Our center on that play got knocked back to the 3 yard line. Like, if it's a traditional goal line sneak, that doesn't happen. He's not getting knocked back to the 3 yard line. It um just wasn't good. Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence just didn't connect on that deep ball that could have won the
Oh
game,
yeah.
essentially tied the game for us. Because believe it or not, there was still plenty of football to be played after the failed goal line sneak. Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence just couldn't connect. Here's where I am on this. The deep pass to Ridley at the end of the game, Peyton, I don't know if I feel comfortable blaming Trevor for a bad throw or comfortable blaming Calvin for not catching the ball.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine just saying that's one that
Got away.
you could have had, but got away. And
Yeah.
you just got to move on from that because it wasn't a bad throw. It wasn't like he wasn't making an effort to catch it. It just got away from him.
Oh yeah, it was clean. It looked pretty. I thought we
Yeah.
were actually gonna have a shot to do something there, and Ridley being down the field, they're like, oh yeah, okay, like it happened earlier in the game, right when he scored that touchdown.
Yeah.
Went out for it, tried to catch it over his shoulder, and he caught it. So we were like, oh yes, it's gonna happen again. He's gonna go in for a second touchdown. We're gonna be in this thing, and it didn't happen. So
Yeah. Bad throw
letdown for sure.
decisions on that
Yeah.
last drive because that Ridley toss that didn't connect was really the last attempt at a good throw decision from Trevor. Because after that, I forget, he threw one to the right that barely picked up any yardage.
Mhm.
And then to end the game, he threw one to Evan Ingram way over his head,
Yeah.
incomplete.
Yeah. That
Didn't
happened
look good.
on the drive on that last
Of the
possession.
4 receivers on that last play, it looked like Evan Ingram was the only one covered.
Yeah.
Everybody else was open. Calvin Ridley was asking for the deep ball, throwing his hand up. Couldn't connect on that. Peyton, just a year recap now. Heartbreaking loss, but I really felt like it encapsulated the entire year. Multiple opportunities, couldn't take advantage of them, made it a lot harder for ourselves than we needed to. If you had to sum up this Jaguar season in just one word, it's a big dictionary, but if you're using only one word, what word are
Uh,
you using?
the first one that came to mind is not one word. It's 2 words. Technically 2 words. I don't know. It's kind of like a deja vu.
Well, no, that's fair. I'll accept it.
Deja
I'll
vu,
accept
right?
it.
We start the season 8-3. We end the season 9-8. What was our record last year?
Was it 9-8?
9-8, and we did not make the playoffs.
No, we did. We made it last year.
Well, we made it last year, but we did this year is what I'm saying. We didn't make the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
And just I think it goes without saying that this kind of applies to even just how we ran our offense as well. Like not capitalizing on opportunities. I think it's something about when we're facing the Chiefs that we cannot seem to get it together.
Yeah.
We saw that in the playoffs last year. We saw it this year, early in the season. And I was like, oh, goodness, if we're playing good teams like this, where we're having opportunities handed to us and we're not capitalizing, I mean,
It's just going to be a frustrating year.
but just going
Like
to be a
I'm in
frustrating year.
it because we're going to play teams tough. We're going to play teams close, but that was frustrating.
Yeah.
That's my word. If I were to sum up the year in one word, I would choose frustrating. Good enough for a winning record, but not good enough to go to the playoffs.
Right.
Which is crazy. Week 11, week 12, we were 8-3.
Yep.
One game off of having a real conversation about can we get the number 1 seed? If so, we get to host every playoff game that we play, and I don't see us losing at home, especially when we were 8-3. We were selling playoff tickets on December 13th, 2023.
Yeah.
That's how confident the team was. That's how confident I felt like it was deserved. Hey, if you're where you're at December 13th and you think you got a decent shot at the playoffs, by all means, go ahead, start selling some playoff tickets.
Right.
But just the biggest collapse in modern day NFL history. I would put that right next to the Eagles of this year.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the Eagles haven't like totally collapsed, but
They're getting ready to, man.
I don't know if they make it
What was
past the
that game
Bucks.
against the Giants?
I don't
Gosh.
know if
Okay,
they make
anyway.
it past the Bucks. But we'll get into that here in a little bit. Peyton, what went wrong? Over the course of the year, what went wrong?
There were some weeks where we couldn't stay healthy. Zay Jones was on the bench. I think there was a couple of points where Ridley, I think early in the season, was benched because he was hurt. And then we lost Christian Kirk not too long ago or a couple of weeks ago. I think it was just main key factors to how we run our offense and our offensive line too, with Cam Robinson being out for the majority of the year.
True.
Having those key players and those guys that are going to be able to block and protect Trevor, like just not be available just because they're not healthy. That's one of the things I felt like we ran into as well. And just like, again, just we had opportunities, just couldn't capitalize.
Just
And
frustrating.
I feel like I'm repeating that too much. Am I repeating that too much, Alex?
For a 9-8 team that couldn't go to the playoffs, that was at one point 8-3. I don't think you are.
Fair. Okay.
I think this episode is going to be fairly repetitive, at least as long as we're talking about the Jaguars.
Okay.
Just sad. I think a lot of the issues do come back to the offensive line, the overall health of the offensive line, the ability for the offensive line to function.
Sheriff, I think, was out for a week at some point, and then
I mean, we even had to send a pick to Minnesota to pick up Ezra Cleveland because we were so short offensive line personnel at that point in the year. Man, I don't know if it's Dougie P or any of the coaches in there, because I feel like as much of a professional as Dougie P is, I don't think that team had ever really given up on the prospect of going to the playoffs up until like 5 minutes left, and we just couldn't get off the field as a defense. I don't know if it's a player issue though either. Like, I don't know if this team isn't talented enough to do it. I just think it came down to offensive line execution.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right about that. Yeah, I don't see it as a coaching issue. Like, Dougie P is a winner. He's going to get the job done. He's got a hold of that locker room for sure. Like those guys that are in the locker room with him, they're definitely like they're backing him up. Like, he was like, yeah, we ride it out.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it is definitely not a Dougie P problem. I really hope. I really, really hope that the Jaguars don't look at this and be like, man, like 2 years, 9-8, Like, come on, we got to get something
I
going.
can't think of
and then have this
something.
third year be like, hey, this is your make or break year. If you don't make the playoffs, you're done.
Yeah, I would say this year, obviously the temperature on the Bunsen burner goes up a little bit.
Sure.
But man, I don't think there's anything more detrimental to Trevor Lawrence's development than giving him a third head coach in his first 4 years in the league.
Right.
With the likes of Urban Meyer,
Have
Doug
to keep.
Peterson for 2. Yeah, Dougie P is not the problem. Trevor Lawrence is not the problem.
Right.
And if you're gonna be the guy, Stephen A, that says Trevor Lawrence, there are serious conversations over or serious concerns that Stephen A has over whether or not Trevor Lawrence is the franchise guy in Jacksonville. Go find me a better franchise guy that's available in the draft. I don't think there is. When Trevor Lawrence is healthy, when Trevor Lawrence has legitimate pocket protection,
Yeah.
there are very few in the league that are better than he is.
Yeah, I have some people back in that I know back in Jacksonville that are actually saying like fire Lawrence, release Lawrence, like no more Lawrence. I'm just
Come on,
like,
let's be serious now.
let's be serious. Like,
Let's be
this
serious.
is our guy. Like,
Trevor Lawrence, I'm riding with 16 until the end. Guys, if we're addressing the shortcomings of the offense, we need to start with the offensive line.
we
Our
have to get
O-line,
stronger. Have to get stronger.
this draft and this free agent class it will determine the outcome of next season. If our O-line improves as long as we hold on to Ridley,
Agreed.
look out.
Mhm.
2 years ago, our O-line finished 31 of 32 in the league in adjusted line yards, which is a stat that measures essentially where the offensive line starts and where it finishes and how well it protects a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's a vague measurement from what I understand. Could be totally wrong. I'm liable to be wrong about that too. And I think one of our O-line coaches was wearing a t-shirt during training camp that said Jags O-line 31st to like motivate them.
Yeah.
Hey Peyton, of the 32 NFL teams, where did our offensive line finish this season? Well, that's not 13th. No, you had it right the first time, I think. Yeah, that's 31st. Yeah, we didn't move.
Yeah.
We stayed at, yeah, we were 31 of 32 again. And as much as I had a tendency to get on ETN's back about not being able to run the ball effectively,
Yeah.
I think I'm done doing that because it really is an offensive line problem. Highest percentage of runs stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage this year. I don't think that's an ETN problem. I think there were guys in the backfield every time ETN touched the ball.
Yeah. So we are known for apologies on DNH.
My bad, ETN. My bad.
With last week's episode, we had the whole like Kyle Bloom and Craig Breslow. We're sorry. You guys are not the problem. It's John Henry. With this case, Travis Etienne. We're sorry.
Our bad, bro.
It's the O-line.
Yeah.
And we messed up. So we're all about accountability here. So
yeah,
just wanted to throw that out there.
But of being 8-3, we had to win. Essentially, now hindsight being 2020, we had to win 2 games to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
The opposing quarterbacks were Jake Browning, Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Gary Coleman, and Ryan Tannehill. I can count 3, maybe 4 instances where Trevor Lawrence is the better quarterback. And that's against Jake Browning, Baker Mayfield, Gary Coleman, and Ryan Tannehill. And if you're going to come at me with fake news about Trevor Lawrence not being better than those guys, yeah, you might get blocked. But I don't know if he's better than Brown's Joe Flacco or Lamar Jackson right now.
Yeah, right now.
Anyway. I count there easily 3 wins in there that we didn't secure. I mean, we let the Jake Browning Bengals take us to overtime.
And they still won while we were at home.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah.
Worst collapse ever?
Is the name of this episode. Just pain. Worst collapse ever.
I mean, the only one that comes close, I think, is the 2012 Boston Red Sox that erased a 10-game division lead during the last month of the season. That's the only one that comes close in my mind.
Man, wow, 2012. So that means Bobby Valentine. was the
I,
manager, right?
I don't
2012.
know.
Might have been John
But I
Farrell.
know that there was a collapse in there.
Might have been John Farrell.
No, John Farrell was 2013. It was his first year he won the World Series.
So
I think
it was Bobby Valentine. Had to have
it
been.
could have been the 2011 Red Sox. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but
Yeah, but to answer your question, worst season to collapse ever. Like we were saying, I think earlier. I think um, the Eagles this year, especially the last couple of weeks. I think the last 6, maybe the last 5 weeks, have not looked good for them. I think they were 10-1 at one point, and I think they ended the season 11-6, right? Or that was their
I
record.
don't have their record pulled up in front of me.
Okay. But I think it's 11-6. So I mean, they made the playoffs, So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to see how the Eagles do going up into this. We're gonna talk about it a little bit more. But the Buccaneers, not I don't know. We'll see if the Eagles win that game.
Yeah.
But worst season collapse ever. I think we're a little biased.
Oh,
But
I'm
yes.
definitely biased. I'm saying
Yeah.
yes.
I'm
I'm
saying
definitely biased.
right. So
We'll revisit that at some point, I'm sure. But as of right now, my answer
I
is
wanted to
yes,
look up
absolutely.
who the. I keep going. I wanted to look up who the Red Sox manager was.
Yeah. So now that that's over, we don't have to necessarily revisit that again, like ever. But I
Please.
mean, it's a long off season, so we definitely could. Let's go ahead and look at each of the first round matchups. And because of the way that the NFL works, we're only going to look at first round matchups. Because after the first round, the teams are reseeded. That way, the highest seeded team is always playing the lowest seeded team, and you get the other guys playing each other. So I don't want us to fill out an entire bracket because our entire bracket could wind up just looking completely different. I want to look at the first round matchups only. And Peyton, I put the picture of the bracket on the run sheet for you so that you could follow along as well. I'm looking at the same picture.
See it.
That first one, top left, we got Steelers Bills. Who you got coming out of that one? Because that's what? That's a 7 seed Steelers team against a recently anointed 2 seed Bills team.
Sorry, my computer's acting up on me here for a second. So what are we talking about again? I just finally pulled up the picture.
Yeah, Steelers Bills. It's that top
Okay.
left
Yeah.
matchup. 7 seed Steelers recently anointed 2 seed Buffalo.
Okay. I have a friend who's a Steelers fan who's like, I would have rather faced the Kansas City Chiefs than the Buffalo Bills. They think they have a tough game coming up with the Buffalo Bills. And they felt like they probably could have snuck away with one if they had the Chiefs. So, Bills, I think, take this one. They're going to move on into the divisional. But Steelers have been looking good. I think these past couple of games. I don't know if they have all that it takes. And gosh, I could be wrong. I don't know if they have all that it takes to really get past a Bills defense who's been I think on fire for these past couple of weeks with Ed Oliver off the edge or he's a tackle or wherever he is. But yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah, definitely will be. I'm taking the Bills to win this one. I don't think that Mason Rudolph, Najee Harris, and George Pickens can beat Josh Allen, Kincaid, Diggs. I think just by name recognition alone, people will wind up taking the Bills in this one. But I mean, after watching them hold a Dolphins offense, which is known for being explosive, to only 14 points, both touchdowns scored in the second quarter. I think it's difficult not to take the Bills here in this one.
Right.
Dolphins Chiefs. Now that's an interesting one.
This is a really good game.
Isn't this game on Peacock? I think this game is on Peacock, and I think Roger Goodell making all of the Swifties buy Peacock so that they can watch Travis Kelce is the best move ever.
I'm just mad that I'm not gonna be able to watch that game.
Same.
You know?
Yeah.
So I may have to just fork over the money. I said fork, people. FORK.
What?
Well, okay, that's it. I may just have to because like it's a Miami Dolphins team that has looked strong all year, and the Chiefs that can make something happen whenever they want to, whenever they pose, depending on who the wide receivers are for the Chiefs. Um, Alex, I think call me crazy, but I think we could see the Chiefs get out here in the wild card, and we could see the Dolphins move on to
Yeah, I'm
um,
taking
face the
Miami.
Bills.
I'm
Yeah,
taking
to
Miami here.
Miami here, I think. So, which is great.
But it's
Would you
so
have
hard.
said that in the beginning of the season?
I would not have bet against Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in the playoffs.
And here I am.
It's so hard to do, but
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
really
do
is.
it. Absolutely, I'm doing it. I'm taking the Dolphins. I think that explosive offense gives any defense a hard time unless it's the Bills.
And then we'll get
Surprisingly,
Bills Dolphins again.
yeah. But um, I think just Kansas City's problems on offense
Mm,
that you normally see them hammer out by now have not been hammered out. And they're easy problems to fix, but they just don't have the personnel to do it.
mm.
And I think we're going to see Miami win that one. But that last game on that side of the bracket, Browns Texans, I feel like it's that Paul Rudd meme.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
look at us. Who would have thought?
Who'd have
Who would
thought?
have thought that? Not
Yeah,
me.
not me.
And no,
Oh man,
absolutely not.
gosh. But shout out to the Texans, man. They've been making something happen with just guys being dudes. And
Yeah,
CJ
CJ
Stroud,
Stroud. He's a dude. He's getting it done.
he's
And
getting it done. As a rookie, I wish Trevor could have done. Hey,
so I'm taking, man, I don't know. I feel like the Texans are just too young and inexperienced for this one. I
yeah,
think the Browns roster still has some guys left over from that AFC championship run. So, um,
hard to
yeah, I'm
pick this
taking,
one. Yeah,
it's hard to pick, but at the same time, this isn't Joe Flacco's first big game.
right.
I'm
So
taking Joe.
yeah, and I think that's where we're running into here. Kind of just going off of yours, like Texans young and inexperienced. But boy, would it be something if we did see them pull it out at the end.
Yeah.
I think
Because if the Browns win that game, then they get to play the Ravens, and we see Joe Flacco go to Baltimore.
Joe Flacco revenge tour.
I'm here for it. I
I'm
would
here
love to
for it.
see that.
I'm here for it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Browns in this one. They'll face the Ravens in round one.
All right. Top right side of the bracket. Green
Do it.
Bay going to Dallas. Man,
So I saw something here, man.
I'm going to get in trouble here.
I know. I saw something here, man. So, saw a couple of things actually. So, Green Bay, and we have another Green Bay versus Dallas meeting. It's like the most times that they've played against each other in the playoffs, I think, or there's like some kind of stat like around that. But I also saw something that caught my eye. Jordan Love has been absolutely popping off.
Yeah, he's been playing like a dude recently.
Playing like a dude. I think 33, or I don't even know. His touchdowns were in the 30s for the season, and it's crazy that now we're talking about that when it's playoff time.
Yeah.
But that was wild to me. That caught me off guard. I was like, oh wow, like Jordan Love's been getting it done, and he's about to send them to the playoffs, about to send them to the wild card. Funny enough to play the Cowboys.
I'm here for it. The Mike
Yeah.
McCarthy revenge tour against the Green Bay Packers, but he's at
Yeah.
home.
Right.
There's so
Why
many
not?
storylines like this postseason. Hey, Cowboys fans, I just want to hear from you guys. I want to know how nervous you are going up against the Packers in round one here. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm necessarily picking the Packers to win this one. I think you guys got a decent shot to make it out of the NFC, although I do think it runs through the 49ers. This first game, though, is your first test. So just let me know, how are you guys feeling? How nervous are you? Do you think you can make it out of the first round? I don't want
Yeah.
to hear any of this we dem boys stuff because you're not the one seed.
Right.
But I feel like if I were a Cowboys fan, which I'm not, I'd be pretty nervous this game. So just let me know how you're feeling.
Yeah. So who you got?
I know I just said I don't know if I'm picking the Packers. And I do think this is Dallas's best shot in a long time.
Yeah. For sure.
But it's just so hard for me to pick Dallas. So I'm taking the Packers.
Wow, dude.
I'm taking the Packers in this game.
Dang.
And I know that defense is just going to give a young Jordan Love so many problems. But that would be the most Cowboys thing ever. To lose round 1 against the 7 seed Green Bay while they're at home. That's the most Cowboys thing ever.
Yeah, it is.
So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
All right, we got Matthew Stafford returning to Detroit against the Lions.
And Jared Goff facing his former team.
I know. It's another storyline. Dude, I just I have a hard time believing that the majority of Detroit fans are not going to be like totally upset if they lose. Like, yeah, your team lost, I get it, but I feel like they still secretly root for Stafford.
Yeah, I think you
like
have
all
to,
the
right?
time. So, interesting matchup here. I didn't think the Rams were going to make it this far. Didn't think they'd get to the postseason, let alone finish with a winning record. And
Right.
they were able to win enough games while Cooper Kupp was hurt, brought him back, and suddenly him and what's the guy's name? Laporta? Or am I wrong on that? Or is it
Laporta's
Puka Nacua?
Puka Nacua. Laporta is the tight end for the Lions.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. Just overlook that. But if you're a Lions fan, I feel like this is also the most Lions thing ever. Secure a top half of the bracket seed.
Wow.
Get a home playoff game for the first time in forever. Play the Rams and lose. Makes total sense.
I'm actually taking the Lions here.
I think I am too. It would be the most Lions thing ever to lose this game. But I have a hard time seeing the Rams getting past what Dan Campbell has built in Detroit.
By the way, did you see the lineman for the Detroit Lions report as an eligible receiver, and they threw a pass to him, and they completed the pass?
It's poetry in motion.
I was like, they're so petty.
They are. They are.
Yeah.
odds we see that in the game against the Rams. I don't think there are odds. I think it's just yes or no.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Now we got, the Eagles.
What is going on?
And what's left of them against a resurgent Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And the Buccaneers. And NFC South champs again for the third consecutive season. This feels like a game where I have to take the Eagles because my mind tells me good football team, take the Eagles here. Don't be stupid.
Right. Yeah.
But there have just been so many instances this year where I felt like, man, they're just not clicking on offense yet. They're just not clicking on defense yet. Their defense isn't generating sacks, especially on third down blitzes like they did last year. The offense isn't clicking, obviously. Right. There's still issues. AJ Brown and his body language on the sideline isn't great.
Yeah.
I know he says that there are no issues, but you're not throwing that body language around if there are truly no issues.
Right. Yeah.
Would I ever take Baker Mayfield over the Eagles, though? I don't think so. So I'm gonna not be stupid here and stick with the Eagles.
Okay, I got the Eagles here.
Yeah,
they have to win.
Yeah. All right. Last part of this. Before we get started with everything, give me one team that is not a 1 seed. The 1 seeds being Baltimore and San Francisco that you could see going all the way.
That I could see going all the way. Ooh. Not the 1 seed. On the NFC side, we'll start. I like the Lions.
Yeah. Yeah, if I had to pick a team on the NFC side, I would pick the Lions as well. But over there on the AFC side, my eye just keeps going back to Buffalo. I think Buffalo is the most dangerous 2 seed out there. I think even though their team hasn't necessarily showed it recently, I think their team is still extremely dangerous in the playoffs.
I agree with that. But I think what I would have to say, just to not have the same answers as you, I think Kansas City probably has a shot here. They'll probably find a way to get something going.
Nope. I'm taking Miami.
You're taking Miami. You switched your answer?
No. I'm taking Miami to beat Kansas City. I don't think Kansas City
Okay.
makes it out of there. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I was like, he's switching his answer? Like, what is he doing?
Guys, we're recording episodes of What's Up Doc here pretty soon, and I'm going to have to start subjecting myself to Dolphins propaganda from Nick.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not letting him get away with saying they're Super Bowl contenders just yet.
Yeah. So if Kansas City can find a way to do it, I know they can with Coach Reed and just who they have on offense and who they have on defense too. Chris Jones leading the charge for those guys. So I think so. So if anything, not the 1 seeds. If we're not counting the 1 seeds, it would probably be Kansas City and a Lions Super Bowl, which would be insane.
Yeah,
I think it would draw good numbers, obviously, because.
So lots of firings happening already. We've got 4 teams that have already fired their head coach at some point during this season before Monday. 4 teams being the Falcons, Panthers, Commanders, and Raiders. Hey, Peyton, remember that time the Ravens extended a non-exclusive franchise tag deal to Lamar Jackson? The non-exclusive franchise tag being the one where another team could match it or do better than it, and the Ravens would have an opportunity to match. But if they didn't, Lamar Jackson would be traded to that other team.
No,
because that did happen.
Okay,
that did happen because they couldn't come to a agreement on a contract, so they had to franchise tag him with a non-exclusive deal, which left him open to just going to play for anybody else who was willing to pay more than the Ravens were.
Sure.
And there was this notion that he was possibly being blackballed because a bunch of owners got together in a secret meeting room and said, we can't let the quarterbacks have all the control, so nobody make an offer. And 5 teams kind of came out and said, hey, we're not doing it. Like, even though it would make sense for us, we're not doing it.
Right.
4 of those 5 teams have already fired their head coach. I just think that's interesting. I wonder how things would have been different for those 4 guys if the team extended a reasonable offer to Lamar Jackson.
Man. But could you see Lamar Jackson be on any of those teams?
The only one is the Falcons because of the addition of Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts already being on the squad. However, I don't know if the team is in a position to take Bijan Robinson. But Lamar Jackson on the Falcons was definitely a possible thing at the time. Could not have been Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith could not have been the head coach. He still doesn't know who his best player is, and he won't know because he doesn't work for the Falcons anymore.
Yeah, you got 5. Yeah.
So, all right, Peyton. We got one last pick on here today. Michigan and Washington playing in the NCAA championship game later tonight.
Yep.
I'm going to set the stage here with my pick first instead of making you go first this time. I think Michigan's D-line gives Washington real problems. I think if Washington wins, it's because Michael Penix Jr. is very mobile in the pocket and gets some throws out quickly.
Yeah.
If Michigan wins, it's because their D-line stifles any chance that Washington has at actually moving the ball down the field. So in this game, the NCAA championship tonight, I think at 8:15. Don't quote me on that.
7:30.
I'm taking 7:30. Ooh, they like the East Coast then. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm taking Michigan. I'm taking Michigan and win it all.
Nice. Yeah. I think Michigan also wins it as well. Just because I think they have a lot more talent on the defensive side, like you're saying, than Washington does. I would like to see Washington do it though, for sure, and see if Michael Penix can get something going and get a couple drives going and make something happen. Hot take: I think if Michigan wins the championship, I think it's the last that we see of Jim Harbaugh as the head coach there. And he moves on.
I think if Michigan loses, it's still the last time we see Jim Harbaugh on the sideline for Michigan.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's valid.
Well, this is a great segue right into buy, sell, or hold, where I throw propositions at Peyton and he buys them saying, yeah, that's going to happen. He sells it saying, no, absolutely not, no shot. Or he holds it. Um, you're allowed to hold, but we ask that you don't.
Yeah.
So
And
my first proposition.
feel free to play along with us. So go ahead.
Yes, please do. And on the question that you can find if you're listening slash watching on Spotify, please put your submission in there
Yeah.
because I will always include those. I need help on buy, sell, or hold. The first proposition, though, that I'm throwing at you today is Jim Harbaugh is the Michigan head coach next season.
So sell
Yeah,
because
and we
I have to take
just
there.
both sold
Yeah, we
without the
both sold.
proposition in front of us.
Yeah, I can't believe I guessed your first buy sell hold. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But selling here. I think he's done after this. I think he's gonna want to go back to the NFL, and I hear there's some openings now.
Yeah, there are definitely some openings, but I do think it was kind of known, at least to people paying attention, that he was done at Michigan the second he hired a representative.
Mm,
He brought
yeah,
somebody on to represent him to these teams because he can't formally interview with them quite yet.
but I even
He's
remember
done.
last year, or a couple of years ago, like there were talks of him going to the Raiders. Raiders need a head coach.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think the Raiders are the best fit for him?
I don't know if it's the best fit for him. I mean, looking at those four already, so we got Falcons, Panthers, Commanders, and Raiders.
I
Um,
mean, on Sunday, Jay Glazer said on the Fox pregame show
yeah.
that Bill Belichick is done in New England. I honestly, if it's not Josh McDaniels in New England, it's Jim Harbaugh.
Oh,
But
that's a take.
I do think there is a mutual interest for him to go to Las Vegas, though.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay. That kind of sucks that that's the way that Bill goes out though.
Yeah, but
Kind
I feel like
of
he kind of
trashy.
hit that point where, it was like, who's going to tell him no? I think the only person who can tell him no at this point is Robert Kraft.
Right, and I think even like some of the early episodes that we had, we were like, I think the only way that Bill Belichick is basically told no is that if Robert Kraft says something, or like he's just like, and basically like told, yeah, don't come back.
Yeah. Buy, sell, or hold. Finishing the year 9-8 and missing the playoffs sounds more like a Blake Bortles stat than a Trevor Lawrence stat.
Bye.
I hate that I came up with that. I hate
Bye. I am slamming it.
it. Yeah.
Well, because at least we had double-digit wins when we had Blake Bortles.
I know. That is a boat stat if I've ever heard it.
That was a great team too. Oh my gosh.
Miles Jack wasn't down. Buy, sell, or hold. John Henry needs to sell the Boston Red Sox.
I'll buy this one as well. I think we are. John, it's time.
Please. I know you don't want to, but I've already discussed this with my wife. If I win the Mega Million, I'm purchasing a minority stake in the Boston Red Sox. I
Let's
can't take it.
go.
And I'll sit in board meetings just to antagonize. I
Yes.
can't put up with this much
Yes.
longer.
That's awesome.
At what point do I root for the Red Sox from afar but refuse to watch any of their games because I don't want to subject myself to that kind of torture?
Yeah.
I mean, think about us right now. We're down bad.
Yeah,
We're
we
Jags
are.
fans and we just missed the playoffs, and we're fans of a Major League Baseball team that could have a large payroll if it wanted to, but is choosing to be cheap instead.
And using the money to sign Kylian Mbappe in Liverpool through the Fenway Sports Group. So
Yeah, just down bad. It's not fun. I'm not having any
well,
fun.
I'm not having fun either. Glad we're all in
um,
agreement here.
yeah. So let's go ahead and start our baseball conversation. We're just going to cover some basic
So,
news, kind of get caught up on that sort of stuff, and then we're going to do a little bit of reckless speculation, which we love to do on the show. So
yes, we do.
Zach, please, Zach signed a deal with the Angels. I kind of see that as like Michael Wacha, Corey Kluber type deal when they signed with the Red Sox. Like, let's sign the guy who's had some problems in the recently. Let's see if we can help get him back to where he was. I don't think it changes the Angels' outlook on this season all that much. I don't know if signing Zach Plesac gives you extra wins just yet, or if you need to continue to add pieces.
Yeah,
but I don't hate the deal.
yeah.
I think this is where the Angels need to live for a while. I think they need to live on develop young talent, stop trading the young talent away. For all things good and righteous, please trade Mike Trout so that we can see him in a postseason game
Yes,
before he
please.
retires. But keep developing young talent, keep signing fringe veterans to short, cheap deals so that one day you can afford actual players. But stop handing out bad contracts to guys like Anthony Rendon.
Oh yeah, that was a bad one. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like going off of your point, like Mike Trout is 32 years old and he hasn't been to a postseason yet. Like trade him up to get some prospects so that you can build those guys up, and then all of a sudden they're like popping off in your infield or popping off in your outfield. So and that might be a little biased because Mike Trout possibly or one of the greatest baseball players of all time, and he hadn't made a postseason. So
He has been to a postseason. I think it's 2013, 2012, 2013. I think
but we
like
need to
that.
see more of it then.
Yeah, they lost in 3 games to the Kansas City Royals. So,
Well, at least we've seen.
Imanga, one of the
Yeah.
exports this year, has a decision to make very soon. Is there an earthquake in Fort Myers? What's going on there?
I had my elbow on the table, so yeah.
You doing okay? Was it funny bone or? Okay. All right. Well, sorry for your loss. Imanga has a decision to make. I've heard there are a bunch of suitors invested trying to sign him, but he only has up until a certain day. I wish I knew what day it was, but I think it's something like he has until January 10th to make a decision, January 15th to make a decision. Otherwise, his agreement with his current team expires and he can no longer be posted for Major League Baseball. I've heard the Red Sox are in on this guy. But just because there are other suitors, I think the Red Sox lose out.
From what I've heard and the notifications I've been getting through Bleacher Report, I've been kind of following it as well. The Giants are now favorites as of right now, which kind of makes sense because all they have pitching wise over there is like Logan Webb, so they do need some help over there. So yeah, I do agree with that though. I feel like we're just gonna find a way to lose on another pitching piece.
Yeah, which we desperately need. I don't think we've talked about Tyler Glasnow yet, but he did sign a deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers, an extension. I can't remember if his deal was deferred as well, but I mean, part of the contingency on him going over to the Dodgers from the Tampa Bay Rays was him being able to sign an extension, and he did. Just putting together the Infinity Stones over there. That's what the Dodgers are doing.
Yeah.
Blake Snell has expressed private interest in playing for the Yankees, and Garrett Cole wants him on the team. I guess there's beef between the two. I can't remember if there is or not, but I felt like it was weird that Garrett Cole came out and publicly said that he wanted Blake Snell on the team. But man, that just could not get any worse for the Red Sox.
Yeah, could not get any worse, right? And then we have to face that like the majority of the season because it's the AL East, and we always play the Yankees. So
yeah,
hopefully we don't.
How about the all-time bad journalism this year from Major League Baseball on Twitter? Because Marcus Stroman expressed interest in wanting to play for the Yankees, and the Yankees had not submitted an offer back to him yet because Marcus Stroman in the past has been critical of the Yankees, especially on social media. But Marcus went and scrubbed his accounts of all the posts where he was critical of the Yankees. But I guess the Yankees are entertaining the thought of having Marcus Stroman on their starting rotation. Wow. And I just don't understand the all-time bad journalism from baseball. If there is a headline, I am guaranteeing you will see the opposite headline within the next couple of hours.
We saw it with Ohtani. Remember, like
Yeah.
people were saying,
He
like
was
he
on a
was flying
jet, apparently.
on the jet going to Toronto, but he
Yeah.
was at home. Like
How about the
so,
member of the Baseball Hall of Fame voting committee that did not vote for Gary Sheffield to be a Hall of Famer? Not that I'm saying Sheffield should be a Hall of Famer. I haven't looked at his career numbers versus the guys already in the Hall of Fame yet.
I'll
Or
pull him up.
like that. That's not what I have done. What I'm trying to bring up is the fact that this guy publicized his ballot and said he didn't vote for Gary Sheffield because he still had time left to vote for Gary Sheffield to keep him on the ballot. But it was Gary Sheffield's last year on the ballot, and the guy hasn't covered baseball since 2017. Peyton, let me put this plainly for you. The guy hasn't covered baseball since Shohei started playing.
Yeah, that's wild.
Just redo the Hall of Fame voting system, please. Save us all.
Yeah, I'm looking up Gary Sheffield's numbers right now. So he batted 292 with 509 homers, almost 3,000 hits, with a WAR of 60.5. Brought in almost 1,700 ribbies with 253 stolen bases.
Possible.
Yeah, it's possible. I think I agree with the fact that he deserves it, but it's just a matter of like the voting system and everything like that. So something definitely has to change, I think, voting wise. But um, hey, I said why not?
Yeah. Harrison Bader signs with the Mets. I don't think that this changes their overall prospects over there in the NL East, although
Yeah.
I will say this is a tryout year for Harrison Bader. If you
Mhm.
want to stay in the big leagues past this year, you have to do something special in New York.
Yep. Bader. Yeah, Bader's been in the league since 2017, I think. So definitely make or break year for him. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, played with the Yankees last year. Was part of the Jordan Montgomery deal that sent him from New York over to St. Louis, and he was part of the exchange. They didn't necessarily need him at that point in time, and look at what Jordan Montgomery's kind of turned into, absent Yankees
Yeah,
pitching coaches, just an absolute beast. So,
sure.
man, I would hate to see Harrison Bader leave, but I think this is his make or break year, his tryout year.
Yeah,
Teoscar Hernandez signs with the Dodgers. He was
I saw
heavily
that.
invested
I saw that.
in the Boston Red Sox. He was even liking fan art that put Teoscar Hernandez in a Red Sox uniform at one point. It sounded like a deal was going to happen. A deal ultimately did not happen. I think Jared Carrabis over at DraftKings said it best when he said the Red Sox signing Giolito is going to affect their ability to sign Teoscar Hernandez. I think the Red Sox were very hesitant to sign Teoscar Hernandez to something past 2 years. I think the best reported deal that I had seen the Red Sox offered was like 1 year, or like a 2 year, $28 million, $24 million deal, and the Dodgers gave him 1 year, $24 million, $28 million, something like that. So,
The Los
they're
Angeles,
giving.
the Los Angeles Red Sox.
Yeah, I know. Please stop stealing our players. Um, Man, it hurts because Peyton, I'm at the point of the offseason where I say, I don't know if we add any more pieces. I think this
Yeah.
is the team that we walk into spring training with. Peyton, I think we get kicked out of JetBlue Park when we go to a spring training game for starting to sell the team chant.
So the team champ. Yep. And maybe we'll see John Henry again. Remember? We
Yeah, we
saw him.
could.
We saw him last time. I think
Yeah.
getting out of the elevator or something, and we were just like, "Oh wait, what? That was
But I
him."
wasn't as mad at him
I
as
wasn't
I
mad
am
at him
now
then.
because
Yeah.
he extended Devers very recently. So
Maybe that was how he was deferring it.
I'm still upset.
Okay.
Let's do some reckless speculation, shall we?
Let's do it.
I've compiled a list of some of the top remaining free agents. Whether or not they're the top 10,
Mhm.
who knows? I know that Gary Sanchez probably isn't, but I still think it's interesting to speculate over where Gary Sanchez is going to go. Um, but 10 remaining free agents that are still out there that I think are interesting. Let's go ahead and go over each of the names and say where we think the guy ends up. All
All
right,
right.
you
So,
ready?
yep.
Number one, Blake Snell, Giants.
As much as I would love for him to be in the Red Sox, I think he will be with our rivals, the Yankees.
Yeah, I had to say Giants because it can't be the Yankees.
I think it's good. So,
Number 2, Cody Bellinger.
Cubs. I think he goes back with the Cubs because I don't think anybody else is interested in him.
While I do think a reunion here is possible, man, I like him on the Brewers.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to sign him long term here. I don't think
Right.
they're going to give him the money that he wants because I've heard Cody Bellinger is seeking $200 million in a deal.
Mm.
I don't think he's worth that.
Yeah.
Do I wish the Red Sox would contact him? Yeah, of course, but we all know
Sure.
that's not happening. I like picking the Cubs as a reunion here. I like him in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Although I don't know if they need him in Milwaukee. I just thought of Cody Bellinger in a Brew Crew uni.
Yeah.
And like the idea of it. But yeah, I'll go Cubs. I think the reunion here is happening.
Mhm.
Number 3, Josh Hader.
I think he stays. Padres.
Texas Rangers.
Yeah, why not? Right?
I think he fixes all of your bullpen problems. Now you don't have to rely on Sabors,
Spores and
Leclerc, and Chapman.
Leclerc. Yes.
I think you have your setup man in
And
Leclerc.
Chapman. Oh, not in Chapman? You think Chapman?
No, I get rid of Chapman. If you sign Hader, you don't need Chapman. I think you have your setup man in Leclerc.
Okay. True.
Number 4, Marcus Stroman.
Stroman. Where was he last year?
Cubs.
Was it the Cubs? Oh, yeah, he didn't. He won't stay. Yeah. This is one where I don't know. What say you, my friend?
I haven't seen it reported anywhere, but imagine Marcus Stroman on the starting rotation of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Okay. How about Gallen and Fott?
Eduardo Rodriguez and Fott. The 4 of them.
I could see it.
Because if you're Arizona, you have to look at your own division and you have to say, we have to build a team that's capable of competing with the LA Dodgers,
Mm-hmm.
or we're settling for a wild card spot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and just look at what they did last season. Like with the squad that they had, they got to find a way to improve. I think Sherman's a good fit there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 5, Jordan Montgomery.
Boston. Please.
Man, I wish, but I think he winds up in Texas. I think he stays in Texas. Yeah. It's a good fit for him. Number 6, Matt Chapman.
Chapman. Where were I saw something on Chapman, or we were talking about Chapman not too long ago, or you and me, I think, off the podcast. There were like reports saying that he was going to go somewhere, or like they had strong interest.
Well, I'm gonna have to go look real quick because I can't remember.
At least that's what I heard, or that's what I saw, something like that, something of that nature. But yeah, Matt Chapman.
No, it's nowhere in my conversations.
Okay.
Last I have is October 4th when I texted you. Am I insane for wanting Raffy, Matt Chapman, platoon in Boston?
Yes, I do remember that.
Short answer, yes, I was insane.
What say you? Do you think he stays in Toronto?
Matt Chapman, I don't think he stays in Toronto. I think it's another case of the San Francisco Giants here.
I was just not thinking about it, and I was just like, maybe the Giants, because they don't have Longoria anymore. They don't have Sandoval, but is Sandoval really good at defense, or was he just a hitter?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that.
Number 7, JD Martinez.
Stays with the Dodgers, maybe.
Arizona.
Oh, back to Arizona.
I'm going Arizona here.
Arizona. Okay.
Number 8, Emanga.
Giants.
I wish I could say Red Sox, but I will say Giants because I think the Red Sox are done adding guys to their roster. Number 9, Rhys Hoskins. This is a name that we have not heard tossed around as much this year, and I think it's a shame.
Yeah. Rhys Hoskins. I have 2, I think, that comes to mind. He would look good in a Brew Crew uniform.
Absolutely, he would. That's where I was going, but then I thought of another.
And I'm going to guess it right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Rangers sound good to me.
No, I wasn't going there. I was
Dang
going
it.
New York Mets.
Oh, the Mets. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, you can
interesting.
move off of the refrigerator Daniel Vogelback and have Reese Hoskins as your DH permanently there.
Yeah. Okay.
You're just gonna move past that as if that's not one of the funnier things I've said.
That's
All
wow.
right, number 10, Gary
Okay.
Sanchez.
Sanchez. Man, we haven't thrown his name around
How about this? I'm gonna pick
a
Gary
lot.
Sanchez by not picking a team.
Okay. Go ahead.
He goes wherever Blake Snell goes.
So if okay. Yeah.
If Blake Snell signs with the Yankees, we're seeing Gary Sanchez, the
Back.
Kraken, back in New York.
Yeah, the Kraken, dude. Yeah. Why not, dude? Why not? I was gonna say Frick.
What was that?
I
No,
was
we're
gonna say
clean. We're a clean show here.
we are a clean show here. I was gonna say Frick, but yeah, I'm so sorry about that. And people are gonna look back at this and gonna be like, he wasn't gonna say that. He was gonna say the other one. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
they're
like,
gonna be like,
okay.
dang, Alex's editing skills are pretty good because he bleeped that out efficiently.
Yes.
All
Right.
right, it's about that time for us to get off so that we can prep and get ready to watch this Michigan-Washington game.
You're
I'm looking forward to it.
me too.
We didn't look at any betting lines, but here, a quick note right before we wind up. While I did drink a Kona on the show today, it was purely a stunt. Like, I do not condone medicating with alcohol. That's not what I was trying to do.
Yeah,
It was just a part of
that's a
the
good
get up
disclaimer.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't medicate with alcohol. That's bad.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the middle of a dry January just because I saw everybody else doing it. And I thought, you know what? The Jags lost yesterday. Not that I deserve one, but let's have some fun on the podcast today.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So, I
Yeah,
guess this
I can pull up
is
the line pretty quick before we get going here. All right,
where you're
so
looking. ESPN bet.
yeah, I'm looking on ESPN. Not ESPN Bet though. Did they take it? Did the ESPN Bet take over on ESPN.com?
Yeah, I don't think they're going by.
Caesar Sportbook anymore?
Yeah,
Wow, interesting. Okay. Yeah. So odds by ESPN Bet is here's what they have it at. So they got Michigan favored by 5.5.
that's tough just because of how explosive Washington is, but I will take Michigan to cover.
Yeah, I think I take Michigan to cover here as well. Over under placed at 55.5. So they're expecting at least both of them to
Yeah, I'm
score
taking the
more
over.
than
I think this
25.
high scoring, explosive
Yeah, I think so as
game.
well. So yeah, we're hitting the Michigan and hitting over here
Yeah.
to end off the episode.
Well, I guess this is it. So for all of you listening and watching, thanks for coming this far on today's episode. So
Yeah,
still sad about the Jags, still sad about the Red Sox, but we're just gonna keep moving forward here on Diamonds and Hashmarks for the final time today. I'm the host and producer, Alex Pichardo.
I'm the co-host Peyton Petretta. You dig? We'll see you later.
See you.